Hi, and welcome to the New Rules for Negotiating 10-minute learning session, a short but comprehensive series of contract negotiation webinars specifically designed for people who negotiate complex customer-supplier agreements. This particular session is based on my book, Getting to We and the Vested Outsourcing Manual, co-authored with Kate Vitasic. This session is going to focus on 21st century relationship management contract structure. How do you structure a governance protocol and a communication protocol? I throw this picture in a little tongue-in-cheek because I think we've all had relationships like this at some point in time in contract management where it feels more like a power struggle. So this webinar is going to focus on the visualization of some tools to create a joint relationship management focus. By that, what I mean is emphasizing the importance of building collaborative working relationships, attitudes, and behaviors throughout the organization, not just between an account manager and a contract manager. So one of my clients told me this quote, and it's in chapter 10 of Getting to We. She said, it's fantastic to have the intent to collaborate, but you have to have the language and the tools to live that intention. Their relationship between my client on the sales side, the account manager, and the customer side was a combative relationship when they engaged me. And through working on the contract structure, reorganizing key performance indicators, working together as a team with the supplier and the customer attending meetings together at a very day-to-day tactical level, they reset the relationship from combative to collaborative. If you'd like to learn more about how they did that, please get a copy of Getting. I'm Jeanette Neiden, in case you don't know who I am. I am the author or co-author of 3 books, including Getting to We, the Vested Outsourcing Manual, and Negotiation Rules. I offer contract professionals technical, customized contract negotiation skills training and coaching. I've worked with both sales and purchasing, sometimes at the same company and sometimes at the same time. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Although companies recognize that there are benefits to reaching deep collaborative relationships with select service providers, many lack clear direction in how to build and govern effective partnerships. So let's start talking about how you can build and govern effective partnerships. And if you like what you... This is the first visualization of a tool that I'd like to bring to your attention. On the left is the traditional relationship management framework, the traditional bow tie, the quote-unquote one throat to choke. On the right is a success-oriented relationship management framework. This is your joint policies that emphasize collaborative working relationships throughout both the company and the supplier's organizations. The reverse bow tie is to drive collaborative decision-making to drive supplier performance, rather than penalizing supplier performance long after the failed performance. All right, so let's talk about how you actually structure a peer-to-peer relationship. So the first step is to set up a tiered management structure. That's step 1. This is what a tiered relationship structure would look like. There are 3 tiers. A board of advisors, starting at the bottom, in the middle, the Joint Operations Committee, and then finally at the top, the Operational Management Group. Let's take a moment and look at each one of these 3 layers in depth. The day-to-day layer, this sits at the top, if you will, is the Operational Management Group. This is the day-to-day management people. These form ad hoc groups, these folks do, and these ad hoc groups meet, could be daily, could be weekly, but they really focus on supplier performance. What are the nuts and bolts of what needs to be done on a day-to-day or weekly basis? Now, they are in constant contact with one another. The idea being you would want to empower these people to the best of your ability to identify problems early and solve problems quickly. The middle structure is middle management. Now, what that means to me is the team that manages the supplier and the company day-to-day folks. Now at the company, there are going to be far fewer, ideally, of these middle management, and the supplier will have even fewer of these types of leadership roles. So they may embrace several different types of working teams at one time. What you do, though, is you create a joint operations committee that ideally meets monthly. The committee then addresses issues that are larger in terms of performance issues or are suggestions for continuous improvement that the folks at the day-to-day level are not empowered to solve on their own. The idea being the buck really needs to stop at middle management, because middle management sits between the strategic and the highly tactical in an ideal world. So as the middle management team is working to translate the strategic objectives into tactical objectives, when there's a performance problem, it should really go back to this middle layer for resolution and not have to be escalated any higher. The board of advisors is really the highest level. It's the bottom layer of the layer cake, if you will. And this board should meet quarterly for the first year or two, and then after that semi-annually. This is really where your account manager on the supplier side should sit. They should not be involved in day-to-day operations vis-a-vis the company, the customer, or the middle management. They really should be setting and establishing all of the strategic initiatives, the continuous improvement initiatives with the leadership on the company side. They could be meeting with the contract manager or vendor manager on the company side, but for a quarterly review process, not any kind of day-to-day work. Now, this could be challenging for some teams that are very thinly managed, but I still recommend finding somebody who can be part of that middle management layer, not the account manager. So the account manager is free to work on several strategic initiatives at the same time without being mired in tactical decision making. Now, the peer-to-peer communication protocol would look something like this, where the designated team in the middle is the red team, and then the various blue teams are on the outside, and the team talks to itself around problems. So the different teams at the company would have an individual that would meet with the team member from the supplier in order to deal with day-to-day or weekly kinds of performance issues. So in terms of frequency, this is what we suggest. For daily frequency, it would be the functional team leads if you've got a large enough deal. An outsourcing deal, you absolutely have functional team leads, and they are absolutely meeting daily. Could be a quick phone call, could be some email exchanges, but they really are addressing any issues as they arise. There can be a short stand-up meeting, phone calls, and this is what helps prevent problems from turning into real issues and concerns. Then at the weekly level, it could be program managers, account leads, project managers rather, excuse me. And what these folks do is they check for weekly or monthly performance issues, and they discuss upcoming events. They look for opportunities for continuous improvement. Then at the monthly level, this is where you start getting into your middle management layer if you have one. These are departmental managers, etc. These folks would meet monthly for sure, and they definitely need to resolve issues that the folks cannot resolve at the daily or weekly level. Now, for smaller engagements, a monthly meeting might be good enough, and combining the day-to-day with the middle management level for a monthly meeting could work, as long as you still have that reverse bow tie, as long as you still have the functional equivalent of peers in the room to be able to address what's going on. If you're going to go that route, I would urge you to have the contract manager or vendor manager facilitate these meetings to allow the participants to be able to set the agenda items and to negotiate the agenda items as they come up. And then quarterly, at least to begin with, would be that higher level of account manager and then company program manager to deal with the issues that are coming up that should be more focused strategically in the future rather than performance-based in the past. If you've set up the structure right and documented it right in your governance structure and your contract, the monthly meetings should really be able to address a lot of issues that I've seen create problems, performance breakdowns, not doing specific items in a statement of work that are new, that haven't been communicated out to the supplier, confusion about who's doing what. Is it the supplier or is it a third-party provider that the supplier has agreed to engage? Invoicing issues, all those things should be addressed at the monthly rather than at the quarterly level, allowing the quarterly focus to be on continuous improvement and strategic initiatives. Now, once you've established this communication, then you, step 3, develop your escalation protocol. So again, the issues and concerns start at the operational management group. They then move to the joint operations committee or your middle management group, and then they finally go to the board of advisors. The beauty of this kind of escalation protocol is that the board of advisors should only get issues that regard either giving a bonus or an initiative payment for a continuous improvement initiative, or for terminating the agreement and moving the working relationship to another supplier. They are really focused on strategic issues only, leaving the middle management group that monthly meeting to address all the other concerns. If you'd like to learn more, and I certainly hope you do, please pick up a copy of the Vested Outsourcing Manual, which has a lot more information under Rule 5, Insight versus Oversight Governance Structure. And I look forward to seeing you at the June learning session.